Hello my dear health seekers, Inga from Health Origins here. So today we're going to be making one of my favorite dishes, vegan gyoza, and the filling today will be a smoky butternut squash, and we're going to be steaming it in a normal pot because I don't have a bamboo steaming basket, so we'll see how that works out. We're gonna start with the filling. I've roasted my butternut squash, so this is half a butternut squash. I halved it again and put it down in the roasting tin and closed it and roasted for about an hour on 190 degrees Celsius, so that it's nice and tender. Now we can scoop it out. It's a little bit warm still, so I'm going to be just holding it with my silicone mitt, and we want to take a spoon and then to just spoon out the flesh into our jug. So just carefully spoon out the flesh. Obviously don't include the skin. It comes out pretty easily. So that's that one done. We'll do the same to the second one. I've scooped them both out, and these can go on a compost pile now. So next ingredients we're gonna add is 3 scallions that I've chopped up, or green onions by their other name. Then I've got about a tablespoon of grated fresh ginger, or you could use half a teaspoon or just a bit more maybe of ground ginger, but I'm just adding fresh ginger here. Then you can either put some fresh garlic again, or I'm going half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm gonna put another half a teaspoon of smoked paprika in here to give that smokiness to our butternut squash. So that's all the powders. Now you could use either salt. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of miso paste instead, or if you're allergic to soy, you could replace it maybe with 1 teaspoon of yeast extract as well. If you don't want to use the paste, then feel free to add a bit of salt. So you have to try it. Maybe start with half a teaspoon of salt and then see if it needs more or less. And then I've got some oat flour here. If this mixture is a bit too runny, too soft, because it's obviously got quite a bit of moisture from the butternut squash flesh, because it was, kind of slow roasted, so all the moisture is still in. We might need to add 2-3 tablespoons of oat flour just to kind of stiffen up the mixture, to make the dumplings a bit more sturdy and easier to handle as well when we're making them, as well as for steaming. It's much better if the filling is a little bit stiffer. So now I'm gonna take my trusty stick blender and I'm gonna just blend it until it's smooth. So that's looking pretty smooth. You could add scallions afterwards if you want to kind of see pieces of them, and then taste test it as well for salt and flavor. This is really good. I think it needs a little bit more saltiness because it's quite sweet. I think I might add just a tad bit of extra salt, and then we'll definitely be adding a bit of our flour, because it's quite soft mixture. So as you can see, it's quite soft and a bit watery mixture, so we want to stiffen this up a little bit more. So I'm going to be adding a few tablespoons of oat flour, and I decided against adding more salt because we'll be eating it with soy sauce, which already has enough salt in it. So I'm just gonna go with the way it is. It's nearly there anyway. So I'll start with about 3 tablespoons of oat flour, and we mix it in and see how it goes. You can also use coconut flour as well. Coconut flour, in fact, absorbs even more moisture, so you need less of it. So depending how wet is your mixture. Mine is still fairly wet, I must say. So that's another couple of, so will be about 5 tablespoons altogether. I definitely think I need to add this extra flour just so that the mixture thickens up a bit more. It's not that liquid, obviously. As it stands now a little bit, the oats will absorb more liquid and it'll kind of thicken up a bit more as well. Now onto the fiddly part of this process of actually making the gyozas or the vegan dumplings. So I've got a little bit of cornstarch, I've got a big plate, so I'm gonna just sprinkle my plate a little bit with the cornstarch so that my dumpling's not gonna stick to my plate. Like that. And here I've got some store-bought gyoza wrappers. They were in the freezer section. You can get that in Chinese or kind of Oriental supermarkets normally, but obviously check the ingredients and make sure that they don't have any egg in. So these ones are great. There's just pretty much flour and water and a bit of oil, I think these have. I'll have to make my own gyoza wrappers and do a recipe on this sometime as well, just how to make it, because it's pretty simple. Like I say, it's just water and flour, and then you coat it in a little bit of starch so they don't stick together. And make sure you have some water to hand, because we'll need that to moisten the edges. So take one gyoza wrapper. So take one gyoza wrapper, and we'll need a teaspoon of this mixture. So just add it in the center and flatten it out a little bit. Then we're gonna moisten the edges of this dumpling just slightly. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of fold it in half and hold the two halves separately with your fingers. So pinch it once, and then with one finger hold this straight, but with other fingers you kind of do a little bit of a pleat, if you like, and then just, so you hold one straight and the other you pleat and press onto the back one. So that's kind of how it works. So you pleat the top layer, yeah, like this, onto the back and press it on. Maybe do one last one here and then press it, and you get this kind of pattern. The more you practice, the easier it works. I'm not an expert on this yet, but I'm gonna do all the rest like that. All the gyozas are made. Well, I've run out of gyoza wrappers, so these were, by the way, I've defrosted them in my fridge overnight. So these were frozen, so I've defrosted them overnight in my fridge, so they were now, you know, defrosted and pliable. But I only had about half a pack left, so that's all I managed to make from this, and we've got about half of the mixture still left. So I would definitely encourage do more at the same time, because you know, this whole preparation takes quite a long time, so best off making more so you can freeze a portion. So you can freeze some of these now in a Tupperware container. Make sure you've put some starch at the bottom, and you know, add your gyozas, and then you can have them later on as well. So that saves you having to go through this whole process of making these again. But yeah, we'll get on now with the steaming. Actually, just before we do, I would definitely suggest chilling this mixture in the fridge either overnight or at least for a couple of hours, because this is still quite a runny texture, and it was quite fiddly to do all the creases and things, because it was kind of harder to hold it. If this was a little bit stiffer, harder, it would be much easier to work with. So I definitely would suggest you refrigerate this mixture in the fridge overnight if you can. So, so now we'll get on with the steaming. So because I don't have a bamboo steaming basket, I'm going to be making it in my normal steamer pot, or you could also use these bigger electric steamers that have a few layers, a few tiers, because you can do much more in them at one point, at one time, whereas here I'm not going to be able to fit too many of the gyozas, because they don't, they need to have some space between them so they don't touch. So to stop them sticking to my stainless steel steamer, we're going to be putting some parchment paper, but obviously this is square, so I'm going to make a circle out of it. And the easiest way I found to do it is to if you ever made some Christmas, not Christmas, if you have made snowflakes from the papers, that's how I do it pretty much. So I fold it once, I fold it twice into like a square, then I fold it into triangle, yeah, and then I fold it in that corner as a paper airplane again, and then that is, you've got your kind of little funnel or airplane. And then what you do, you put it in your pot in the middle, and wherever this comes to, you know where you need to cut. So we need to cut around about there and do like a bit of a rounded cut, and that should fit our bottom now. So I'm gonna put that in. So that just prevents the gyozas from sticking to the bottom. I've put a couple of cups of boiling water underneath there already, and I'm gonna nicely position a few of these on here. It only fits 4 in this one. Just make sure obviously it doesn't touch each other, and there's a little bit of space, and it doesn't touch the edges of the metal as well, because there's going to be some condensation. And to prevent this condensation from the flat pot top dripping onto this and making these soggy, because we want them steamed but we don't want them soggy, the best way to do this, you can do this with the electric steamer as well. Just basically wrap a clean kitchen towel around your pot lid, and then just pop it on. So that will keep the moisture, you know, absorbed in the towel instead of dripping back down onto your gyozas or dumplings. So I'm gonna put this on, and you want it on quite a gentle steam. So I'll get it to steam, and then I'll steam it for about 12 to 15 minutes, and then we're gonna check it. So it's been 15 minutes that the gyozas have been steaming, and let's have a look. So they actually have spread quite a bit, but carefully pick them up with what are these called? Yeah, just carefully pick them up. I think I've had them on quite high steam to begin with, so maybe next time I'll definitely reduce it a little bit more, because you want to have them on very low steam so that they steam gently. Carefully unpeel them. So I've put another lot in, and I'm gonna wait for these to cool down maybe 2-3 minutes before I taste test them, because they're really hot inside. And I've got a little bit of soy sauce, or you could use some sweet chili sauce, or maybe even mix soy sauce with a bit of hoisin sauce. I find it's really nice. So whichever sauce you prefer them with, that's, you know, that's what you can have them with. But let me wait for a couple more minutes to just for them to slightly cool down, and then I'm gonna be taste testing them. Right, so let's give this a go. Kind of cool down a little bit so I can handle it. I'm gonna just dip in the sauce. Oh, yummy. You can definitely taste the ginger in there. Really nice. I would want a nice green fresh salad to go with this. And the pastry itself is kind of nice and gummy, you know, that how you get in gyoza. And the bottom is not too soggy. It's fairly dry. It's still obviously moist, but it's yeah, it definitely worked, and it's nice and dry on the top here. So this is successful gyoza. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Let me know what are your other favorite fillings for your gyoza or for your vegan dumplings. And if you're new here to this channel, welcome, and subscribe for more videos like this, or also weight loss tips on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And remember, food is fuel, so be mindful of what you put in the body. Until next time.